This is the new Fujifilm Instax Mini 13 camera. Is it any good? Let's find out. Hi everyone, welcome to Pal to Tech. Today Fujifilm released this. A quick disclaimer, Fujifilm did send this camera over to this studio so that I could give you my thoughts on it. They did not sponsor nor pay for this video, and they had no involvement in its production. In fact, they were not even allowed to see this video until right now when it's been published live for all of you. Now, together with the camera, Fujifilm also released today the new Pastel Galaxy Instant Film. We'll talk about that in a minute. The camera itself is sold in 5 different colors. This model right here, white. Inside the box, you get instructions, 2 AA batteries, and a wrist strap that has this little plastic angle adjustment piece. You see it right here? And you use it to sort of tilt the camera up slightly if you wanted to, say, get in the shot and have the camera, facing upward a little bit. Just like its previous models, the Instax Mini 13 is made out of plastic. And ergonomically, it is almost identical to its predecessor. It's 105.5 by 124.7 by 67.6 millimeters. And it weighs 327 grams, and that's without the batteries. Like the Mini 12, this camera takes the Instax Mini Instant Film, which is sold separately, usually in 2 packs of 10 exposures each. This will give you a photo size of 62 millimeters by 46 millimeters. On the front of the camera, you have a lens ring right here, which allows you to turn the camera on and set the lens for normal shooting, but you can also turn it one more click over to close-up. If you have it in close-up mode, that will allow you to get close up, but the range is limited to the closest at 0.3 meters, which kind of looks like this, to 0.5 meters. Basically, you would use that if you want to take a selfie and you're hand holding it about this far. Speaking of selfies, it does have a selfie mirror right here that you can use to compose your shots. The lens itself is a 60 millimeter focal length, and if you happen to leave the lens ring with the lens extended, the camera will automatically shut off after 5 minutes. Otherwise, simply rotate the lens like this to turn off the camera. Also, on the front of the lens, you have an automatic flash, which has about a 7-second recycle time. The range itself of the flash is 0.3 meters to all the way out at 2.2 meters on the other end. Also on the front, you've got your viewfinder and your shutter release button, as well as your auto exposure sensor. Now have a look at this right here. You see on the shutter release button, this little kind of dial thingy? That's a new feature in the 13 that was not on the 12. And what it is basically a self-timer. It gives you 2 options. One is 2 seconds of self-timer, the other is 10 seconds. You basically rotate the ring once you see it light up, then you have either 10 or 2 seconds to get in place for the camera to take the shot. And to be honest, I did find a self-timer is a great feature to have. I hope every future Instax camera has a self-timer built in. The top of the camera right here is where you put the batteries in, which, as I said, it takes 2 AA. In terms of battery life, a fresh set of AA batteries will give you about 100 photos from the camera. The back of the camera is where you look through the viewfinder to compose your shot. You also have a little film counter right here that counts down from 10 exposures to 0. It is very simple to install the film. Just line up the little yellow strip right here on the film pack with the yellow marker right here, close the door, and you're good. No, you're not good to go. There's one more thing you need to do, okay? Once you load the film into the camera, you need to then turn the camera on and take 1 photo. Do that right after you load the film so you don't forget. Basically, you're ejecting and then you discard the top cover of the film pack and you're ready to go. Once you take a photo, the film comes right out of this slot here on the left side of the camera. Now, Fujifilm says it takes about 90 seconds for the film print to be developed, okay? The developing time. It takes longer than that. 90 seconds is about the time it takes for most of the print to be developed, but that last little bit, maybe that last 5 or 10%, might take up to 30 minutes, I've noticed. As I mentioned, there is no exposure control whatsoever on here. The camera makes all of the decisions for you. It does shoot in ISO 800, for those of you that know what that means. However, your exposure is controlled by the camera. Overall, I was very pleased with the image quality of the camera, in particular with its ability to really judge background light if it was on the brighter side and not blow out the foreground. So have a look at this shot right here. The bright daytime outside the window would have really tripped up a lot of cameras. And the fact that it didn't make the foreground orchid plant look too dark. This is about as close as you can get with the camera with the flash. You might get a little bit of the highlights blown right here and right here, for example, but overall it was pretty good. Have a look at this shot right here. Again, you've got quite a bit of dynamic range, and the fact that did I just say dynamic range in a video about an Instax camera? I guess I did. And again, the camera had to balance making sure that the background, you could still kind of see out the windows a little bit, but the bottom part of the dog's coat, as you can see here, was a little bit on the blown highlight side. However, the face of the dog came out pretty well. Here's another selfie here where I've got a very dark object right next to my face, and it didn't do a bad job of balancing the two out. So as I mentioned, Fujifilm made this new pastel galaxy print film. This is what it looks like right here. Kind of cool. And each print is completely random with regard to the border. You see that? Now, because the camera fully controls the flash, there's no way to turn the flash off if you want to. But if you really want to get, creative or try something experimental, go ahead and cover the flash with some tape. You can get some creative shots. For example, take a look at these right here. This shot was taken with the flash not covered, just the camera deciding what to expose. And this shot right here where, you've kind of got this silhouette thing going on in the background. The quality of the creativity and art is in the eye of the beholder, okay? Another thing that I noticed that I really like about the camera is that when it has to deal with the flash, it does so in a way that it doesn't desaturate the colors. Check this out. This photo I took with the flash covered up, okay? Way dark, but the flash was covered up. The camera couldn't do anything about that. This photo I took normally with the flash uncovered. Even though the camera had to blast the flash in this case right here, it still looks pretty good and not as washed out as I thought it would have been. Now, one of the other features that the camera has is the ability, when you have it in close-up mode, if you're looking through the viewfinder, there's a black circle. You see that right here? Remember, the viewfinder is not directly above the lens. It's moved over. So when you're looking at it and you're lining up the center of your frame, it's not really lined up because your eye is here, but the lens is here. Check this out. Not too bad. It's not dead center, but it's a little bit more center than on most cameras you would get that doesn't have this feature. So how does it compare with the prior generation, the 12, when it comes to image quality? Well, I have to tell you, pretty much identical. Have a look at these two images right here. The image on the left was shot with the Instax Mini 12, the image on the right, the Instax Mini 13, and they are almost identical. I would say, if I absolutely had to, that the 13 gives you a little bit more detail, but as I've said many times about the Instax line, it's fun first, in the moment, sharing the memories, and not necessarily making sure your shadows and highlights are perfect, right? Still, I did like the quality of the images that came out of it. I've been shooting for instant cameras for a long time, way back to one of these. I should also mention that while there's not a dedicated app for this camera, there is the Instax Up app, and the Up app allows you to scan the photos that you've taken with this camera, and then you can store them digitally, share them on social media, and so forth. The camera and the new pastel galaxy film will be available in June of this year, and the camera will run you about $93.95. So, is this camera worth it? Should you get one? Here's what I think. First, if you already own the Instax Mini 12 camera, no. You do not need, and I don't think you should, get the 13. They are almost identical ergonomically in terms of minimum focus distance, in terms of a lot of the features that are on the camera. So not much difference between these two. In terms of image quality, I don't think enough to justify upgrading from the 12. 12 is great, uses the same film. You already have the 12, uses the same batteries. You're good to go. Keep the 12. On the other hand, if you've never used an Instax camera before, this would be the one I would recommend. It's not a hybrid. There's no screen on the back, no Bluetooth, and that's the whole point. If you're gonna step into Instax, then jump in that pool, meaning get the easiest, simplest, least feature provided camera, okay? Basically, you take the shot because that's the whole point of Instax. Once you start adding screens on the back, connecting to your phone, at some point it starts crossing into a normal camera or a phone, and you don't want that. The happy place for this camera is out with a group of friends, inside a bar, restaurant, whatever, selfies, that kind of thing. That's what it's made for. and that's what you should use it for. I would recommend this camera. It's a lot of fun, and it could not be simpler to use. Thank you so much for watching, and I hope you found the video helpful or at least entertaining. And if you did, be sure to give it the like and subscribe. I will see you in a new video very soon. Take care.